Hey, yo, what's up? Come on, man. Let's get up in here, man. I know y'all didn't think, man, I was gonna miss a day in the Ramadan Telethon, man. You know we usually chop it up at 7, but I was on daddy duty today, hanging with my two Ibns. That's Arabic for sons. I was with Khalif the Chief, and I was with Nair, was here. So that's why, I'm coming to you at 9, But I'm not going to miss a day of the Ramadan Telethon, man. It's 30 days. I'm committed. I know y'all committed. Let me see if y'all was waiting. Let me see how many numbers pop up in here. Let me tell you something. I had the time of my life with my boys today. I always had the time of my life, man. And you can see on my shirt right here, you see that. Palestine right there, from the river to the sea to Palestine is free, man. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum, man, to all my brothers and sisters all over the globe, man. As we completed day 9, we going into day 10. And you remember one of my early videos, man, in the week, the first 10 days of Ramadan, you seek the mercy of Allah. So, we're about to wrap up the mercy of Allah, because tomorrow we're starting the 10th day now. It finishes tomorrow when we fast. And the time went back in America. So can you imagine my surprise when we usually break fast at 6:14, 6:15, and then you add that hour, it was 7:15. I was wondering tonight when I was playing with the boys, at 6:15 and whatnot, the sun was still out. And I'm like, oh, time out, champ. Why the sun still out? You know what I'm saying? It's time to break fast. The sun's supposed to be matriculating down. But then I remembered, the great old, the time set up and all that in America. So I had to do an extra hour. So now the fast has went from 12 and a half hours to 13 and a half hours. We got an extra hour added on, man. Yeah. So I was with my boys. We played tennis today, man. And I told them, I said, listen, y'all the only two jokers can have me late on my Ramadan Telethon. They say, Dad, what's the Ramadan Telethon? I said, when I sit down and explain to the masses, you got to explain to non-Muslims what Ramadan encompasses, what the month of Ramadan means, and all the beauties and all the things about it. They was like, what? I was like, yeah. And you know what I love about them being 8 and 7? In Islam, you're not required to fast, like I said, until you're mukallaf. Mukallaf means that you are of age. In Islam, that means for boys, when you have a wet dream, meaning you can ejaculate sperm, and for females when you have your period. So they not obligated to fast, but they know it's Ramadan and they be acting like they fasting even though they eat all day. You know what I'm saying? So we broke fast tonight, got a pizza. I told y'all last night, and I was talking about fasting, got us a pizza. I ate one slice. These jokers ate the rest of the pizza. Acting like they starved. They ain't been starving, man. You know what I'm saying? But the fact that they know that it's Ramadan and they broke fast with their pops, I love them immensely, man. Those are my two guys. I love them, man. Like I said, they something else, But yeah, that's the only reason why I'm coming to you now on this late Sunday. It ain't late, 9 o'clock, 6 o'clock West Coast time. All my peeps on the West Coast, yay. Y'all know who y'all out there, man. But yeah, I'm not going to miss a day, man. It's Ramadan Telethon. And tonight, you know what I wanted to bring to you and talk to you about? I wanted to talk to you about Islam. We have sciences. Islam is very intricate. It's very deep. It's very nuanced. And it's very simple, but we have protocol and standards for the things that we do. So tonight, I want to talk about tafsir and recitation. Tafsir is the Arabic word for the explanation of the Quran. All right? The Quran has 6,236 verses. Chapter 1 to chapter 114. It's 114 chapters, which we call surahs. Arabic is the word for chapter is surah. So we got 1 to 114. And the tafsir is the explanation of every one of those 6,236 verses of the Quran. You can't read a verse, especially in Arabic, and you're not an Arabic-speaking linguistic person, and then think you can understand. I mean, some of the verses are simple in the Quran, but some of them are very nuanced. Very, very nuanced, because Allah touches on various topics. I mean, he touches on so many topics. The hellfire, paradise, and, achieving, paradise. Your prayer, how you deal with your family and your community and your neighbors and your children. Laws of inheritance. There's laws of inheritance in the Quran. What you should leave in your will for your children. If your parents are dead, if your parents are still alive, if your dad is alive and your mom is dead, all these things are talked about in the Quran. So when we talk about tafsir, you have to get an explanation of every single verse, so you don't be out here welling. Like my man Roach said, Lamont Roach said after the fight with Tank Davis last week, welling means capping. Means coming up with your own opinion. You have to understand the tafsir. This is a science of Islam. I don't know about other religions. I'm Muslim. So when I say something about a specific verse in the Quran, I've already read the tafsir and understood the tafsir, the explanation. I'm not shooting from the hip, coming from what old feelings ain't got nothing to do with Islam. Islam, Allah tells you this is what it is, and then the tafsir explains to you this is how it is or how it should be done according to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his companions. His Sahaba, Arabic Sahaba, is companions. They brought and carried Islam from 1446 years ago to what we have now. So when I say, tafsir is a science that you need to undertake. You just can't read the Quran in English. That's not the Quran. The Quran was revealed in Arabic. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was an Arab. So Allah revealed this book to him in Arabic. Just like Allah revealed the Injil. That's Arabic for gospel. Allah revealed the Injil to Isa, Jesus, in Aramaic. That was Jesus' native language. The Bible that y'all have in English, that's not Jesus' native language. He wasn't an Englishman. So, I don't know if y'all have tafsir and explanations. You might have the New Bridge Concordance Bible. I don't know. But I'm just saying in Islam, we deal in sciences, man, amongst a lot of things. So tafsir is the explanation of the Quran. So you make sure when you're talking to somebody, you're saying the correct thing about a specific verse. Because the beauty of the Quran, because I'm going to lead this into the other thing. I told you tafsir, explanation. And I'm going to lead you into recitation. That's when you hear somebody reciting the Quran. There's rules of recitation, though. Let me slow down. All right? We're going to get to that in a second. But tafsir, the explanation of every verse. So when you talk to somebody, you're saying the correct thing. Like Allah, I'll give you an example. Allah tells us in the Quran to pray. All right? But he doesn't sit down and tell us every implicit direction of how to pray. You see what I'm saying? He tells us to pray. This is for the believers. You have to pray 5 times a day. But when you read the tafsir, it explains the explanation how the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the Sahaba radiyallahu anhum, may Allah be pleased with all of them. That's what radiyallahu anhum. You got to say these things because this is explained in the tafsir. Why would you mention the Sahabas, the companions? Don't say may Allah be pleased with them. This is explained to us from Prophet Muhammad. So we know how to pray from the tafsir. We know that we have to pray from the Quran. So it's 2 things. That's what I tell people. The Quran and the Sunnah. The Sunnah is the way of Prophet Muhammad. So the tafsir explains to us how do we pray. We know Allah said pray, but how do we pray? So when you watch Muslims pray and you see us put our hands up, Allahu Akbar, God is the greatest. This is what Prophet Muhammad and the companions did. So you have to have tafsir. You have to know the tafsir of all 6,236 verses. You can't be out here and shooting from the hip. This is what I feel. Well, this is how my family did Islam. No. Your feelings ain't got nothing to do with Islam. We follow what Prophet Muhammad and the companions did. So you got to understand the tafsir. All right? That's the explanation. You can't be out this, you making up your own understandings. No. We are laymen. The common Muslim might say, we're a layman. You might consider me knowledgeable, but that's just because I've studied my deen, my religion. But you have to go to the scholars. And the scholars are from 1,400 years ago up to today. Scholarship is very serious in Islam because you can take something and twist it and make it anything you want. If people don't understand the explanation of the Quran, somebody could come in and put a bug in your head and say, well, this is what this means. And you run with it because it sounds good. Dude might be linguistically sharp. He might appeal to your feelings. And you like, oh, yeah, I like that. I like what he's saying. But that could be an incorrect explanation of the Quran. That's why we have scholars. And scholars are held in high regard. Allah talks about them in the Quran. They are amongst the people. Scholars are held up there with the prophets. Because scholars in Islam, it's a whole different life. Like scholars don't get married. Scholars study their entire life to make sure that the Quran is practiced the way that Prophet Muhammad and his companions did it. You can't come in 2025 and say, well, we're going to practice Islam like this. No, that's not how Islam works. We practice Islam based on how Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, and how his companions practice it. That's why we know what Islam is. We know how to pray and how to prostrate and all that. So I had to let the non-Muslims know that, like, as we continue the Ramadan Telethon. If you have any questions like, why do Muslims do that? Something simple as the beard, the lihya. The lihya, that's Arabic, this for the beard. Prophet Muhammad said in the hadith, he said, trim the mustache and grow the beard. So you can say, okay, well, Muslims got to be, you know why he said that? The tafsir will explain it. Because let me tell you something, this is whether you can grow a whisker, whether you can grow a beard, you can grow a little chin strap, whatever. This is an explanation of the masculinity of what Allah made you. And what I mean by that is if I shave all this off tomorrow, right? I come out here and I got the butt face. No mustache, no beard. The power of Allah, what will happen? It grows right back. Even thicker. And anybody that got a beard know that. I'm just explaining something as simple as the beard. You can shave it off as much as you want. These guys get older. They want to put it, just for men and Beijing and all that, man. Listen, man, it don't matter what you do. You can shave that joint off and run around here with the butt face. But what happens? That mustache grows back thicker. Your beard grows in thicker. You know what I'm saying? This is a sign of masculinity. This is a sign of Allah to show that you are a man. Don't run from this. I don't want no beard. I don't want to see the gray in my beard. The grays in your beard is light. And Prophet Muhammad explained this through the tafsir. This is your light. Means you lived a minute. You've achieved some form of wisdom. You've been around. Allah has blessed you to live long enough to get gray hair. Think about the young brothers and sisters that's in the grave right now that didn't live long enough to get this. But we got older gentlemen out here running around putting it just for men in their beard. They want to look young and jazz. They want to shave everything off. Everybody know you 40, 50 years old, champ. It don't matter what your beard, if you got a beard or not. So, that's what I mean by the explanation of Islam, tafsir. So, right? So I hope y'all got understood that. Now I'm going to take it over into recitation. Let me explain a miracle of the Quran, the book that Allah sent down, because it wasn't sent down as one book. Let me help you understand. Prophet Muhammad was 40 years old when he was chosen for prophethood by God, by Allah Ta'ala. And the Quran was revealed to him for the next 23 years in verses. 2 verses here, 5 verses there. It wasn't sent down as one book, the Holy Quran. No, you got to understand, Prophet Muhammad was illiterate. And this is a miracle of the Quran and of his prophethood. He was illiterate. He was an Arab in the desert that couldn't read or write 1,446 years ago. So you think God going to send down a book with 6,000 verses to an illiterate Arab that couldn't read and try to get... No, the Quran was revealed over 23 years. So when you hear us recite the Quran, this is from memory. This is from memory. And if all the books in the world were destroyed, was burnt right now, 2025, if they had a fire sale and burnt all the books in the world that's ever been written, there's only one book that could be recreated line for line, letter for letter, verse for verse, diphthong for diphthong, all of these things. Tangerine, that's Arabic recitation rules and all that. It's only one book that could be recreated of humanity, and that's the Holy Quran. Because we have what we call Hafiz. If you meet a brother and his name is Hafiz, Hafiz means you have memorized the whole Quran to your memory. 6,236 verses. We have Hafizes all over the world, as young as 4 years old, from Brazil to India to Afghanistan to Arabia. We have what's called Hafiz. Brothers and sisters that have memorized the Quran. And how do we know this? Because we have recitation contests every year in the Muslim world. In the Islamic world, we have recitation contests. So, I give you, it's like, you remember American Idol, and they come out there and show you their talent and sing and dance or whatever, and they get voted to the next round. Well, in Islam, we have recitation contests worldwide, where people, brothers and sisters, come from far and wide, and they recite the entire Quran. The judges are scholars and people that know the Quran and the Arabic, and they sit there and say, okay, recite chapter 46, starting at verse 12. Not the first verse, start at verse 12 and recite from 12 to 18. And that way the judges know they got the Quran right there. They got it open to chapter 46, verse 12 through 18. They gonna know if you know 12 through 18. This is the beauty and the miracle of the Quran. We have Hafiz all over the world that have memorized the entire Quran. When I was in prison, I memorized a part of the Quran. The 30th part, the last juice of the Quran, which is like 20-something chapters. I had memorized it, and now since I've been back out in the world, I done lost some of the memorization. But this is the beauty of the Quran. It's memorized in the heart. So if every Quran, every book in the world was burnt, we could go find the Hafiz, whether she in Africa, he in Sudan, he's in Afghanistan, he's in Arabia, Iraq, he's in Malaysia, wherever. Because one thing about Islam, you can't say you this and you don't show and prove. You can't say, I'm Hafiz, brother. I memorized the whole Quran. And then a brother said, okay, chapter 87, verse 2 through 17. You know what I'm saying? You on the spot. I got the Quran right here. I can look it up and I know verse, so people don't go around and say they're Hafiz and they're not Hafiz. So Islam, this is the beauty of Islam in so many ways. We have the explanation, the tafsir, so we understand fully what Allah is saying to his people, to his slaves, to humanity. Because Islam is for humanity. It's not an Arab religion. It's for humanity. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was sent to mankind. Allah says it in the Quran. So get this notion out your head. You got to be an Arab. No. You just got to know Arabic. His companions was Ethiopian. Bilal was Ethiopian. He was the first mueddin. And I'll tell you a story about Bilal. I don't want to give you no more. The mueddin is the one that calls the prayer. When we had to call the prayer, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. You see the recitation? How I elongate and hold the Allah. Bilal was the first mueddin. He called the prayer first. He was Ethiopian. Prophet Muhammad had companions that was Romans. He had companions that was Persians, that was Arabs, that was Ethiopian. So, Islam is for humanity and mankind. But you got to understand it and practice it correctly. And that comes from knowing the tafsir, the explanation, and then when you recite the Quran, recitation correctly. Find the Hafiz. I've only met one Hafiz in my 54 years, and I was incarcerated with the brother, and the brother was from Somalia. You know what I'm saying? He was from Somalia, and let me tell you, I used to put him on the spot, and he would just smile and laugh, and I would pick out chapters. And when I would pick out chapters out of the Quran, he would sit there, and he would just smile. He's like, hold on, brother. Okay, what chapter? Chapter 36? Okay, brother, hold on. And he would go into his bag, and Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, and then he would recite it, and I'm sitting there reading the Quran like, this brother really Hafiz. Like, you know what that takes? Like, imagine, for a Christian, you tell them, you pick out a chapter or a verse in the Bible. You tell a brother to read Mark chapter 6, verse 1 through 5. Like, who really knows? I mean, I don't know about Christianity. I know about Islam. And that's why I'm here tonight telling you about the tafsir, the explanation of the Quran, so you're practicing correctly, and the recitation. how you recite it, and how much of the Quran you have memorization. It's the only book in the world that can be reproduced if all the books were burnt. Only book. There's no other book. Nobody knows the Bible verse for verse, chapter for chapter, for the simple fact it's 1,000 different versions of the Bible. It's 1,000 different versions. King James, Concordance, you know what I'm saying, Episcopal. You got, but I'm just saying for Islam, we have brothers that have memorized the Quran in their heart. So if every book was burnt, we can get the Quran reproduced because this brother, this sister knows all 6,236 verses. That's a modern miracle, man. Most people can't remember what they ate last week. And we got brothers and sisters around the globe that know the whole Quran. And it's memorized in our heart. When we stand up and pray, we say parts of the Quran. I say what I memorize, The next brother say what they memorize. That's the beauty of prayer, And these are deeds that Allah sees. These are your good deeds. Like, oh, this brother, this sister knows this of the Quran of my book that I sent down to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So yeah, I just had to, touch base with you on that, man. Keep the streak alive. Cause like I said, the Ramadan Telethon always continues, man. We got it in, man. I had a wonderful time with my baby boys today. I love them to death. They are hilarious. You know what I'm saying? They my heartbeats. But yeah, I said, listen, God, I got to tuck you in and all that, man. I got to go live. They think, like, do the live with us, Dad. I said, I would do the live, but they room ain't got no light. They got light, but it ain't the lighting I need like this. I didn't have my prop gun and all that to put my phone on. I was like, next time. I recorded them playing tennis and all that, which will be on my YouTube channel, The Oddcast. Y'all go over there, like and subscribe. Stop playing with me, man. We going to keep this pushing forward, man. So Sunday is a wrap. Time then went up. We done finished day 9, the month of Ramadan. Day 10. I'm tripping. Day 9. Day 10 starts now, it's sunset. And we're going to reconvene tomorrow, man. I love y'all, man. I hope you have a safe and wonderful weekend. You don't work too hard tomorrow starting the week, man. Until, like I said, until we meet again tomorrow at 7. Tell a friend to tell a friend, man. Go on over to the Oddcast on YouTube and check out my content, man. I love you. Guillermo. Que lo que, mano, man. I got my mano Guillermo on here, man. That's what I'm talking about. My Uruguayan brother, man. Beautiful, big-hearted brother, man. I love that brother, man. Me and him, we go back like stocking caps and waves, man. I love you, Guillermo, man. We got to get up, bro, for you boat up to Ohio, man. But yeah, so that was the explanation tonight, the tafsir, explaining the Quran and the recitation, to recite it and memorize it. All right, I love y'all, man. Y'all be safe, man. Till tomorrow. Peace.